I'm Oliver Patrice Weder, and I've created a track inspired by the most recent film scores and some of the trends in 2021. Some of them have been nominated or are contenders for nominations for the Academy Award, and I've created a playlist as well, so you can click the link below and access the Spotify playlist to see what kind of scores I've been researching and what I've put together. I'll also play you a few examples of my kind of favorite scores. And I've also watched the conversation between Christian Paul, Chris Bowers and Emily Baer, and they have some really, really interesting observations. I recommend you watching it. You can find it on the Spitfire Audio Academy page. So they observe that there is a lot of vocals in there, so like kind of pop tracks, kind of treated vocals. I mean, if you think about Squid Game, for example, or The White Lotus is a lot of tracks and songs. So a lot of artist-led film scores, very interesting, creative, original, and there's a lot of drums, kind of jazzy beats. The score that Daniel Pemberton did, I think it's more traditional, but then again there's also some drums in there. Certainly Don't Look Up by Nicholas Britell, that's really kind of a swing, amazing jazz kind of score. And I've observed a lot of bells in there, or like bell-like sounds. So as you can tell, I'm focusing a little bit more on the less traditional scores. I mean, there were also the French Dispatch or June or No Time to Die. And of course, these kind of soundtracks, there will always be there. But I think there's a real chance for artists to get noticed with kind of unusual and experimental sounds. Because I've been asking myself, and I read on YouTube comments, and also a lot of people ask me, how do I get this first gig? What do I do to get in touch with directors? How do I get people to listen to my track? And obviously there's not really any kind of right answer or a textbook to follow, otherwise it would all be famous film composers. But I just observed that there's a lot of work, a constant amount of work of these artists and film composers that are in the top league. And it's always very bold, very kind of bold decisions. Anyway, I want to play you the track. And actually first I want to mention the libraries that I'm using here in this track. Oliver Arnalds Stratus, Spitfire Solo Strings, LCO Textures, Albion NEO, Chamber Strings Pro, and Symphonic Motions. And while I'll explain some of the features and show some of the sounds that I've used to create this piece, if you want a detailed walkthrough and some more videos and demos, check out the individual websites of those products. Here's my track. So I'm starting my piece with a Stratus piano looped rhythm. So this library is absolutely fantastic. It's in collaboration with Oliver Arnalds, and it's basically his technology that he's developed with his team in Iceland and took on tour. It's these self-playing pianos. So he plays a chord on his main piano, and I believe he's like a device that reads which keys he plays and transforms it into MIDI and sends it to a piano left and right. And through that, he he kind of gets like this rainy kind of beautiful drizzling effect. I'm just seeing here that I'm playing more notes than 4, so I have to up actually my polyphony here, so I can hear everything that I'm playing. So you get actually a bit more rain there. Wow, just a very unique sound. And he does the same with his synths, just to demonstrate you a couple more sounds here. And then what I did in this piece, so it's very good for inspiration, but what I did here is I went to advanced, and I actually chose my exact patch and Evo. Evo is like a pre-recorded phrase, and if I choose one, basically all the keys play the same rhythm, so I don't get that aleatoric kind of effect, which sometimes that's what you want. And I think this is a bit of a hidden thing, so you can't only have the aleatoric choice, but you can actually design your own rhythms quite precisely. And then you can add your ADSR, etc., your filters. There's quite nice effects down here as well. And what I actually did up here, I created my own piano. So he's even included in this advanced setting here, the pianos, and you have the center piano, left piano, and the right piano. And so what I did is the center piano plays both parts. Then I have a piano left. I also panned it all the way to the left. I detuned it slightly. I added some low pass filter there. And then on the right piano, I panned it all the way to the right. I tuned it up just a little bit, 0.04. I added some EQ3 there, which makes it a little brighter. Added some convolution reverb there. I added... Oh, here I wanted actually a bit of delay. And then here I have only my highest notes on the right hand. You can see it's all the same parts, but here I've muted the middle bits, and just on the right I have the higher notes, and on the left I just have the lower notes, while in the middle I have the full sound. And so I create a little bit my own piano sound. So I think it's a big part of creating your own sounds, obviously, to customize your sounds and your instruments a little bit. And this kind of piano part is flat out inspired by Johnny Greenwood's track for The Power of the Dog. Even that kind of 3-note motif you could hear on the left hand, and he has it on the low guitar. I then go off somewhere else because obviously I don't want to plagiarize his theme there. And then the strings come in a bit later. Really, really amazing. It almost reminds me a little bit of Nick Cave and Warren Ellis, I believe. The Jesse James kind of theme. Just this kind of sound, you know, it's very tangible and very close. Absolutely lovely. And then the chords are a little bit more this kind of vibe. That's just really, really cool there. And the vocals, I show you a little bit actually what kind of vocal textures I have here from LCO Textures, and they're just inspired from Squid Game here. I can even hear a bit of Steve Reich in there, and I've actually tried to do that. I'll show you in a second with applying some tremolos, and I'm using the tremolos to create these different kind of effects, so the vocals almost become like synths. Then the Green Knight here, I found this really incredible, this score, really bold and courageous. And then you have this really long pause and it continues and with these percussive sticks and like almost swarm-like. Really wonderful and memorable scores and really giving the movie a clear voice. Again, here I'm starting out with Stratus. Here I'll just play you this, what I've created here with only this library. Really taking this Nicholas Britell score as inspiration there with this bleep bloop kind of thing. I'm using more of this kind of stuff actually in Albion NEO, which I think is a fantastic library to create modern scores. And then I'm using the solo strings. So you have kind of modern scores, but some traditional elements in there, like in Johnny Greenwood's case, where you have like really dry, beautiful sounds, solo strings. And we have these Spitfire solo strings here included, and you have just a ton of articulations. And I'm using this one almost a little bit as just a sound inspiration. And I've used actually something that I hadn't used that much, which is the ostinatum. And I just started drawing in some random notes and random velocity here and just see what happens. It's a different way of composing, and it just creates different textures. And then with these LCO textures, I mean, the LCO is just such an incredible ensemble. And this one was recorded in an aircraft hangar and has an incredible reverb tail. And it's these ensembles that they've put together with different textures and different instruments. Really, really wonderful stuff. Just absolutely mind-blowing and inspiring. And again, here you can go in there and know what the sample is doing and design your track. So for example, here I'm using not exactly a specific patch, but I'm randomizing with ethereal. So it's the same ensemble that I'm using there. And I like doing that. So as I was saying before, it's kind of a Steve Reich thing and with these kind of pulsing vocals. And I'm adding just a tremolo. I'm flipping the phase. So instead of left, right, it goes back, forth. And I have this kind of effect here. Combined with this here. Sometimes I'm applying two tremolos to add a little bit of a different and interesting rhythm, such as this one. So only one, or without tremolo first. So I'm offsetting the tremolo as well, so I can, just to demonstrate. So you can kind of customize your own rhythm and tremolo. It's quite a good trick because you can apply it to all sorts of drones or strings or whatever you want, and something kind of interesting is to be achieved there. This tremolo down here. Again, it sounds quite nice all together. Then as you can see, I'm using a lot of these kind of Brunel loops, again, inspired by Nicolas Bretel's track. The Green Knight down here, he uses these kind of percussive elements here. It's quite cool, and there's a lot of these are layered and panned, so I try to create a similar thing here. I mean, these loops are incredible, and they are created by the Spitfire team, so that's quite special to us as well. And Albion NEO is actually a small and beautiful and intimate orchestra. So you have strings as well, strings A, B, you have divisi, you have legato, you have flautando, so it's really, really versatile. So it's quite a small section. And then you have the other half as well, strings B, you have woodwinds, you have brass. We have some of Christian's synth collection in there, LCO Textures there. We have taken these kind of recordings, these orchestral recordings, and really tweaked them further. And so you have the EDNA engine in there as well. Let's just see, I'll play you a couple of tracks here. So you can really tweak your sound as you like. But it's quite interesting to go through the presets, and you'll find some sounds that you love. Definitely 1889, this one. I think these woodwind pulls, actually that's from the orchestra again, but I quite like this patch. I believe there's a saxophone in that orchestra as well, somewhere in there. Some brass, they're tuned. And then that's what I was saying. So these patches were made from the orchestral recording. So it's organic in a way, but yet it sounds electronic. And so the way these Brunel loops work, you can have the whole loop. Wow, this is really cool as well. Or you can have parts or individual stems of this loop. So here's just the percussion. This is what I've used. And then obviously you have it pitched. The guitar. And this is all tempo synced. This is just very, very useful stuff for film scoring. I'm using some bleep bloop here, basically some arpeggiated stuff, etc. Put some sample delay on there. I like doing that here and there with some sounds to get that the Haas effect, so without. It just kind of widens the sound a bit. And again, this is definitely inspired by Don't Look Up, adding these kind of arpeggiated synths. Here, some solo cello in the end. It's just really, really nice to play. So it's quite interesting as well with the vibrato button, so you can have perhaps expression all the way up. Dynamics addresses the different levels the player plays, and the vibrato is programmed, so all the way up obviously is a lot of vibrato. Little bit of vibrato. No vibrato, and then it goes into tremolo. And I find that quite useful within your performance. And then down here, I'm adding a little bit of chamber strings. And I mean, chamber strings is really the big daddy of this kind of selection of libraries. I mean, this is really all you need to write professionally, because each instrument has such an amazing variety of articulations. All these legatos, like flautando legato, legato runs, sul G, sul pont, all these kind of different long articulation shorts, etc. And in my piece, it didn't really call for like a real nice big string arrangement, but this is really the library to have in your repertoire. I think this is just always useful. And especially this long flautando ensembles. And ensembles is when you can play with both hands and it's all nicely mapped out for you. I quite like writing with this patch when I have to sketch something out. It's very useful. And then the last library, Symphonic Motions, and that's a decoration or an add-on to your either symphonic library or the chamber strings here. And it's either to get a bit inspired or to add and enhance the realism, because we have some pre-recorded rhythmic textures here. For example, I'm using here 12th notes. And this is all kind of rebowing, which is really hard to do with samples. You can also have some overlay, spiccato, for example. So whenever you hit the note, for example. In my composition, I prefer not to have it because I'm fading this in. We also have some more movement, so for example thirds here. Or as said, you can get inspired, you can choose your presets from up here and play with it, and they're kind of good providers for ideas. And obviously then you can start playing with pressing notes at kind of slightly different times and create intricate rhythms. So I'm going to show you a couple of other things, rough triplets maybe. Quite interesting. So I'm using these ones in my composition together with the chamber strings to just create some kind of swells and dynamic changes there. If we just have a listen. So then here I'm using two different patches that complement each other. And then this one. The next one is a bit more melodic in the chamber strings, just supporting a little bit the movement of the chords. With everything. Cool, that's it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please leave any questions or comments in the comment sections below. Let us know of any scores that were inspiring to you. And if you want to watch more of this kind of content, check out Spitfire Audio Academy. Take care and see you on the next one. Bye bye.